Hey there, everyone. We are here starting promptly on time for 8:05. This is a Tuesday edition for Wave News Extra. As always, like to start here with a look outside our SkyTrack camera, letting us take these glimpses into what's going on all over our home and our extended community here. A sight for sore eyes, folks. Let me know if you're happy to see these lower 60s as much as I am. And the wind notwithstanding, hopefully the snow where you all are living, branching out, across Kentucky and southern Indiana, that the ice is starting to melt slowly but surely. As we begin this latest live stream for Wave News Extra, I want to welcome you into the studio. As always, I'm Jose Sosaya, breaking down some of the day's big stories and a myriad of different kinds of these stories. It's breaking news, things happening in different courts and trials, updates to troubleshooters investigation. Part of that also in the middle of this Olympic excitement. Some things we're working on. I want to share with you some glimpses into our special series. But a big update we got from our reporting team that was checking in on the JCPS Board of Education meeting that started not too long ago, earlier this evening. Well, again, call it breaking for us, just so thanks for tuning in at the time, because the news is always changing. But as of just before 8 o'clock tonight, the board tabling its vote on a plan to eliminate about 300 jobs within the district. Most of those would have been within the central office. So again, that vote is tabled. That is now going to happen Friday at 6. Now, for reference, documents posted online by JCPS on Monday night showed about 300 cuts, which the district says would save them around $44 million. One of those positions on the chopping block would have been, for example, the person in charge of the Clothing Assistance Program, or CAP. It's a program that's been around in the district since the 70s, offering free clothes for students going through hard times at home. Our Fernando Garcia-Franceschini was our early shift of the reporting team working on this particular story, and he talked to a former district worker who was actually very deeply involved with CAP, and she was talking about how she's worried getting rid of the specific director position within the assistance program means that they'd have to rely on volunteers moving forward.
They don't have those relationships throughout the community. They don't have that knowledge of, I know families could really need this. Who can I reach out to see if I can get some donations? That is the wealth of experience that Justin Willis brings to that position.
And you hear they're talking about the director's name, Justin Willis. So the documents, again, this is what was posted on Monday night, published by JCPS. It also showed some positions could be renamed to new titles, and that would then come with a reduction in salary. But again, the breaking news top of the live stream joining us, guys, just before the start of the hour, the JCPS board tabling its vote to hold off on deciding on this plan to eliminate about 300 jobs within the district. So whatever does come of that decision, and presumably, they'll have to get to that crossroads for the vote on Friday. We'll make sure to update you and report on what we're able to confirm, have a news team right there in the thick of it. All right. In another story of this active trial going on in Floyd County for you folks out in Indiana, prosecutors, making their case for this Isaiah Page trial from the Harvest Homecoming shooting, building, adding more witnesses, 8 witnesses testifying today. And it ran the gamut from officers responding to the scene of this deadly shooting. You remember Bryce Gerlach was killed, 2 others were hurt. Wave News reporter Logan Perrone sat in there to break down those hours of testimony in New Albany. He has this report filed with us.
Testimony in the courtroom on Tuesday focused heavily on the 3 people who were shot that night. The 2 people who survived gave their accounts of what went down. Details continue to be revealed in the 2024 deadly Harvest Homecoming shooting that left 18-year-old Bryce Gerlach dead. Kentucky's chief medical examiner, Dr. Bill Ralston, who conducted the autopsy on Gerlach, testified, mostly behind closed doors. Dr. Ralston confirmed to the jury Gerlach had 1 entry and exit wound. The mannequin in the courtroom marked with a yellow sticker on the chest, indicating where the 18-year-old was shot. Also on Tuesday, the 2 other people shot that October night took the stand. The first victim we heard from was Michelle Nashi. She says she was sitting on this bench for several hours waiting for her son and a friend, and it was around the time of the shooting. She heard a group on Black Avenue arguing with a group right up there on the landing, and that's when the gunshots rang out. And then she realized she had been shot in the front of her leg with an exit wound in the back. Body cam video from New Albany police officer Gracie Payton showed the calm and collected mother as she was loaded into an ambulance. At one point, she was on the phone and said, "I just got shot. I'm not going to be at work tomorrow." The second victim, Brenton Hagan, was walking down Black Avenue when he stopped about here between the sign for the Scribner Gardens and this black trash can right here. He saw the group on Black Ave arguing, decided to turn around, and when he turned around to walk away, he heard the gunshots, and that's when he realized he was shot in the back of his leg with the bullet going out his kneecap. Both victims say they did not see who was shooting. In fact, after 4 days and several witnesses, none who were present when the shooting happened have said they could identify the shooter, a point made by the defense during their opening statement. Prosecutors say they plan to call more witnesses in the coming days. 4 individuals who have been charged and sentenced could take the stand as early as tomorrow. A hearing is scheduled for Thursday morning before the jury returns, and that'll be to determine whether or not they actually come out here for a site visit. Reporting in New Albany, Logan Perrone, Wave News.
Our thanks to Logan for that update. Moving on to other stories, folks. After months of legal wrangling, this is an update on a lawsuit filed by fired Louisville Urban League CEO Kish Kumi Price, arguing she was wrongfully terminated. Well, this is now going in front of a jury. The Urban League says it fired Price months after her taking the job. In the opening statements, for which we had cameras in today, Price's lawyer argued she was fired for no reason. He even telling the jurors Price's firing was orchestrated by board members who were loyal to the former CEO. He said it happened because Price fired the CEO, Rhonda Mitchell, who also worked for Sadiqa Reynolds, who is a chief operations officer, Rhonda Mitchell, who also worked for the former CEO at Norton Healthcare Sports and Learning Center. Now, the Urban League's lawyer is saying that the opposite was true, making the counter argument, telling jurors Price was inexperienced, unfocused, not good at the job. This trial is expected to last several days, which we will also have a team covering those updates as well. In another courtroom in this matter, a trial started in the case of a Louisville mother who police say admitted to shooting and killing her 10-year-old son back in 2021. The details in court today disturbing, as prosecutors allege Caitlin Higgins tried to do an exorcism on her son before killing him. According to prosecutors, the horrific crime happening in April of that year at a home in Algonquin Parkway. The details are very tough to share. It's what was laid out in testimony in court. But police say they got a call the day of the murder from someone saying they saw Higgins with a gun and a boy was wrapped in a blanket. Police found 10-year-old Kyan Higgins Jr. dead in the trunk of her car. His mom telling police she also tried to cut out his tongue. And prosecutors today saying that Higgins herself was high on meth when she taped the boy to a chair, punched, and stabbed him. Listen to the message given by prosecutors here to the jury.
We're not asking you to make up your mind. We're only asking that you keep an open mind and listen to all of the evidence before deciding what this case is really about and why this happened.
Or at least one of the statements given there by one of the lawyers, the attorneys there. The case actually spurred a 2025 bill in Kentucky. It was trying to give animal control officers training to spot signs of any child abuse or neglect. Records show Metro Animal Services had cited the boy's mother for animal neglect leading up to his murder. Again, we'll update you on this trial as it moves forward. Another story to have here in the first block of things to break down for you, and we'll say this is the kind of the serious stuff to mix in as you're joining us on the live stream tonight. Here, a union, the Teamsters union, files an emergency protection order, EPO, against UPS, huge employer. But their motion is a response to what they're calling an illegal buyout that targets UPS Teamsters drivers particularly. The union arguing that they have detailed at least 6 violations of a national agreement by UPS in the rollout of this buyout program. So this includes direct dealing of new contracts with workers, eliminating union jobs, and that contractually the suit is arguing UPS agreed to establish more positions. So a spokesperson for UPS shared a statement saying in part that their quote, drivers appreciate having choices, including the option to make a career change or retire earlier than planned. We engaged with the Teamsters on this topic in early January. And the rest of the statement goes on to say, the company is, quote, disappointed the Teamsters have chosen to oppose a program that is entirely voluntary and would provide a great benefit to, quote, our employees, particularly as we continue to right size our workforce. UPS, though, saying this is not going to impact their operations. All right, here we are at the 8:15 mark. Much more to get through in our live stream that I want to share with you as you join us and you're decompressing from a busy Tuesday, but something to look forward to again, warmer skies. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Make sure to join us tonight at 11 for the storm tracking teams breakdown. Much more to get to in this Wave News Extra update. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hey, everyone. Thanks for sticking with us here on the Wave News Extra live stream. Breaking news update again coming out of this break since LMPD is telling us they have arrested a fifth person connected to this deadly shooting on Fort Haven Road right before Christmas time this past December. So a fifth person arrested. It's a minor, a 17-year-old. All they give is the initials. They're not going to disclose the full name, but saying that they believe they had something to do with the murder of Milton Ritchie Jr. This was the 3rd Division's officers who went out there. 4 of the 5 who've been arrested are minors, so underage. There's been 1 adult facing murder, or now facing murder charges, 1st degree and robbery, 1st degree, and even the stepmother of one of the suspects also taken into custody, and that's what brings the total number of arrests to 5. So there's your breaking update. We'll have a little bit more context to share with you coming up on Wave News at 11. In a big story update that drew a lot of critique from Metro leaders, not just on council, but the mayor, Craig Greenberg himself, and other Commonwealth attorneys. So this is the background of the story. Christopher Thompson, someone who's been convicted of kidnapping a woman he didn't know in 23, that he robbed the victim, sexually abused her multiple times. A judge, Tracy Davis, rejected a jury's recommendation. He spent 65 years in prison, instead sentencing him to 30 years in prison. In this troubleshooters update, and thanks to our troubleshooters for spending time to be there for the decision, Louisville's mayor is just the latest person to express his opinion on the sentencing choice. Judge Tracy Davis believed the jury's recommendation was too high for Thompson and instead chose to give him 35 years and a chance for rehabilitation. So where does the critique come from? Commonwealth's attorney, Jarena Weathers, said she was disappointed by the ruling, that he's a severe threat to the public that needed to be removed for as long as possible. What you're hearing here are Metro Council Republicans also saying they were against the judge's decision. And in another interview and check-in with questions, Mayor Craig Greenberg talked about his own disappointment with the sentence.
we're going to continue to work on that. And it's beyond just policing. It's beyond the work of Metro government. We need the help of other agencies. We need the help of other parts of government, including the judiciary, to help make a dent. So I was disappointed to hear about that.
Now, Wave News has not been able to independently confirm a figure or a statement put out by Metro Council's Minority Caucus about how Judge Davis has granted 44 shock probations in a span of time. Well, we did request comment from the judge. We were, though, informed judges are ethically prohibited from commenting on any decisions or matters that are put before the court. In a decision that has impacts for Jeffersonville voters, families out there living on the southern Indiana side of the river. Again, another update in our news reporting today that Mayor Mike Moore is confirming he's not going to run again. He's not going to seek re-election. This happened during his State of the City address just today. The mayor highlighting in his statements that Jeffersonville has seen tremendous growth since he took office back in 2011. But that he added, however, he felt it was time to pass the torch on to somebody who had new ideas.
Every 4 years, we get to decide. And we've got some extremely bright and talented people that are willing to do it. And I applaud anybody who's willing to run for office. And I'm going to be there to support and help in any way I can. I'm always going to live in Jeffersonville. I love this city. I love everybody in this room. You all are a positive momentum.
Now, the next election cycle for Jeffersonville's mayor is going to be in 2027, and that'll be something worth following up on for sure. Real quick, because I know sometimes in real time, this particular stat might change because who knows whenever they're in the middle of the competition to decide who wins the medals. Just really quick to give you an idea of where Team USA stood at the time, we had this built, but it's still a huge day at the Milan Cortina Olympics when Team USA athletes get on the podium for alpine freestyle skiing, some for luge events, historic medals in cross-country skiing and mixed doubles curling, despite perhaps that was a bit of a letdown if you follow the curlers. That upset in the semifinals and just coming up short for the final match. But still, powerhouse Norway and host nation Italy are still dominating the overall medal count. But you can see where we stand here for Team USA: 2 golds, 3 silvers, and 2 bronzes. What I wanted to share with you all, and surely that's part of what you all are checking in on our main Wave NBC feed. Totally understand. So there's no chilling the excitement that you're going to have for the Winter Olympics in Italy. But as you're catching the highlights and medal rounds, the Wave News team here wants to introduce you to some local athletes putting in the sweat equity themselves because they love many of these sports you're seeing played at the highest level. And some of these skills are actually pretty tailor-made, so you can scroll on your phone, see them do incredible acrobatic things. These are TV highlights that maybe would force you to stay glued to your chair for those 4 minutes. Figure skating probably checks that box. Team USA, quite the history of world best athletes. The likes of, if you didn't know Ilya Malanin's name before, you'll know him now, and just so many different events that they could do. But it still bears repeating, even elite level skaters have to start with a solid foundation in places like the Louisville Skating Academy. Before all the Olympic fun got started, we actually spent a session a couple weeks back with budding athletes inside the Iceland complex. These are kids, these are the young at heart, learning core skills through the Learn to Skate program. If the bug is that big for them that they stick with this passion, the directors say students can graduate to the Aspire program, and then that leaves a path for people like St. X Senior, Gavin Thompson right here. He actually has progressed to the point where he's so excellent at singles and partner skating that he's gotten the call again from Team USA's National Development Camp.
Yeah, I never expected to get on it. So when I got the email last year, I was in class and I almost stood up and started jumping up and down, dancing. Yeah.
You could very much understand what having that invitation would mean to someone, to be invited for the top of the top and understand that you've got that recognition. I hope you join us tonight. By the way, this is going to be my latest entry in our Beyond the Medal special series. Get to meet Gavin, get to meet the mentors. And by the way, they were all, skaters themselves who can pinpoint the exact moment they knew they wanted to lace up their skates. It's really cool stuff. I hope you get to check that out. I want to leave you heading into this break with our latest tidbit reflection to share with you for Black History Month as we highlight historical advances and contributions from our African-American neighbors and community members, and stretching and spanning the gamut of all kinds of contributions. Meteorologist Tawana Andrew is here to break down a little, very distilled, but worthwhile sharing the biography and the story of Alberta O. Jones and how she made her own history.
This is 60 Seconds of Black History.
Welcome to 60 Seconds of Black History. Alberta Odell Jones was one of the first African-American women to pass the Kentucky bar exam. She was born in November of 1930 in Louisville. In 1956, she became the first African-American to attend the University of Louisville Law School. She transferred to Howard University School of Law in her second year. She was also Muhammad Ali's, then Cassius Clay's, first attorney and negotiated his first professional fighting contract. Jones was appointed to the Louisville Domestic Relations Court in February 1965 as a prosecutor, becoming Kentucky's first female prosecutor. On August 5th, 1965, Jones's body was found tossed off the Sherman-Minton Bridge into the Ohio River. Her murder has not been solved, but her impact on the community can still be felt decades later. In Louisville, in November of 2023, vacant land in the California neighborhood was transformed into a vibrant public park named after Jones.
This
Hey everyone, we're back with more of the Wave News Extra live stream. Likely the story you've been catching glimpses of, with a pretty breaking update in the video to pair with it. Yeah, the FBI is sharing images of now possible suspect of the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie in the Tucson, Arizona metro. So it's black and white security video. Some photos also showing a person who's wearing gloves, a ski mask, a backpack, and he appeared to be carrying a gun. At least that was what was based on the FBI's release with their own information and pairing it with the video you see there. Nancy Guthrie, 84-year-old mom of Today's Show anchor Savannah Guthrie, was first reported missing. Now it's been 10 days. She was first reported missing February 1st. The family does believe and still thinks Guthrie is out there. They're asking for the public's help to find her wherever she might be. The FBI even saying Monday, though, that they still haven't identified any suspects or specific people of interest. But you can see just how this particular case has garnered and captured so many people's eyeballs and attention, just hoping to see if they could find Nancy Guthrie still alive. And a story that probably startled a lot of folks around this plaza, or maybe the workers inside. Part of the graders on Bardstown Road in Fern Creek, parts of it are boarded up because a car rammed into the ice cream shop itself. Take a look at that. It's the Fern Creek Fire Department who had to come in there to help. They confirmed the crash happened. Thankfully, we're told nobody was hurt, but you can see the damage done to the building. We stopped by the ice cream shop earlier today. You see the caution tape across the front door. No one's going in to get the ice cream at this particular place. Yeah, when we arrived in the afternoon, still not open. Very understandably closed, and just to see how fast they could fix things, board things up, replace the glass, and get customers back inside. Here's a story also getting a lot of attention. You can see where the body camera establishes a search for a missing 3-year-old child, but there's a dog who's getting the credit and the praise of being a hero, helping LMPD in their search for this child. Officers posted this video to their Facebook page. This happened sometime in January, and officers were looking for a kid on the ground while a drone and a helicopter were looking in the skies. But a neighborhood dog came over. He started barking, and that's who then led them straight to the child, who was in the passenger seat of a car inside of a garage. The kid scared, understandably, but they were healthy and okay, and he was reunited with his family. You see the image of the dog right there, urging the officers to follow them as closely and as quickly as they could. All right, we are going to round things out. The last 2 stories here on our live stream. One of them is looking ahead to perhaps the summertime because it is part of the city's plans to celebrate America's 250th anniversary. And this is the meeting that Louisville's America 250 KY committee had. On the agenda, there were some requests to update their website, if they could participate in the St. Patrick's Day Parade, the Pegasus Parade. They even talked about some of the events they want to plan for the Kentucky Derby Festival. And then perhaps most importantly would be those big pageant-like celebrations they want to be a part of and responsible for on July 4th.
Decisions, I think, are still ongoing. We plan to have more information for the community regarding July 4th, 2026, in ways that Louisvillians can have fun on that day. The good news is July 4th is on a Saturday this year, so we plan on having a full slate of events throughout that day, from the morning to midday to the evening. So just stay tuned as more information becomes available.
And they say the events aren't just going to wrap up once Independence Day is over. They, as a committee, want to host America 250 events within the city as they're able to all year long. One holiday that is coming up a lot closer once we end the work week is going to be Valentine's Day. You can imagine the rush, anticipating the demand that's there to reserve or buy some of this or get a table at a favorite restaurant. The demand exists, and also stereotypically, of course, for flower shops, but some are still recovering from the impacts of this winter storm, how that might have delayed their ability to stock up in their operations. Madison Porter out in Lexington, our sister station in Lexington, is explaining how their flower shops, their florists, did their best to protect their blooms from the ice, the cold, the snow, and how they are trying to make up for the lost time to stock up for their biggest day of the year.
Snow and ice hit central Kentucky in late January. Many businesses shut down as a result, including flower shops preparing for Valentine's Day. Poppy's Flower Bar had multiple delayed shipments. Owner Shelby White dealt with another delay this week, just days before the holiday.
It's when you get into the 2 to 3, 4 day delays that, we could get a box of just completely dead product, which is never fun.
The delays won't raise prices at Poppy's, but roses will cost more across the board. Mickler's florist says most roses are imported from South America, and new tariffs drive up the cost.
Those have certainly affected the rose prices, along with, of course, demand for roses at Valentine's Day is up, so the price for roses always increases with the demand at the holiday.
Robin Mickler shops local for other flowers. He buys tulips from Three Totes Farm in Winchester. Mickler says tulips are a good Valentine's alternative and less affected by tariffs. But even locally grown flowers faced a challenge these past couple of weeks.
When we sell things like these orchids or a lot of fresh flowers or tropical plants, we have to wrap them up to protect them, because even a short time out in the cold like that can cause damage.
Despite the obstacles, Lexington florists say they're ready for Valentine's Day and are encouraging customers to shop local. In Lexington, Madison Porter, WKYT.
Hopefully any Valentine's Day plans you all have out there do go smoothly. Thankfully, it is good to take advantage of it on a weekend. A reminder that we update the homepage, wave3.com, with all this information. You remember me talking about that breaking update with this murder investigation. Here's another arrest, a woman who was shot near PRP. All the stuff updated and at your fingertips on the main homepage. Our troubleshooters, original reporting, investigative stuff, in-depth features, special series, all there. And of course, it could get sent to your phones when you sign up and download the Wave News app and the Wave Weather app at the same time. All excellent tools, which only add to the options you all have at home to connect with us, whether that's here through your Wave Now, on your smart TVs, or, for example, folks connecting on Twitch. It's always nice to engage and check in with folks on the different kinds of platforms that you all are spending time on out there, and just a chance to break down, decompartmentalize some of these stories. And the same applies those connecting with us on Facebook, on YouTube, and on X. I hope you join us for when we're going to be back for Wave News at 11 on the main broadcast and on the website as well, wave3.com. Got some things working for you. Chief Meteorologist Kevin Harnett going to break down, hey, this sort of nice reprieve from all the bitter cold, what's it been like, what the 60s could do for us, how long that lasts, what the pattern is going to look for us a little further out in the 10-day forecast, and our reporting team following up on this decision by JCPS now to table a pretty consequential vote for the jobs that they might have cut within the central office. So something we'll break down in more depth for you tonight at 11. Appreciate your time as always, folks. I'm Jose Sosadia here in the Wave Now studio. We will see you back here tomorrow night.